Thank you for everyone for attending today's live webcast, Selling a Mission Critical Cloud to Your Customers. My name is Kim Harrison, and I am the Market Development Manager here at Concerto Cloud Services, and I will be your moderator for today. Presenting on today's live webcast will be Rochelle Coleman, Director of Partner Strategy and Marketing here at Concerto Cloud Services, and I'd also like to welcome a special guest, Rob Curls, Solutions Consultant at Concerto Cloud Services. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. After the presentation, we'll have a brief quick Q&A period. To submit a question, click on the question button and type your question. We will try and answer as many questions as possible, and if not, and if we don't get to yours, we'll happily respond to you after the webcast. For those of you who are interested in today's presentation, it will be made available to you via on-demand and will be posted on the Concerto Keep Calm webcast landing page for future viewing and sharing. Lastly, please provide feedback at the end of today's live webcast, as we greatly appreciate it. With that, let's get started. Rochelle, take it away.
Great, thanks, Kim.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
So much for taking the time. We're going to do a quick, for those of you who've joined us for some other of these sessions, where the intent here is to have you take away some key learnings and to focus on a half hour of your day and then get back to your busy day. So we're going to focus today on selling mission critical cloud. And for those of you who potentially don't know Concerto or have been involved or potentially partnered with Concerto, you know that our history and our roots have really come out of those that want to place mission critical workloads in the cloud. And so we're going to talk about today the top 3 strategies in selling a mission critical cloud. And the definition of mission critical, I mean, you know, you do not have to be an enterprise level, you know, thousands of user ERP system to be considered mission critical. The true definition of mission critical is in the eye of the owner of that application, and could be anything from a small or mid-market application that runs a company's business every day. If you have multiple users that do not wish to have an application go down for more than a couple seconds to a minute, then they have a mission critical cloud in front of them. So we're going to focus on that today. We're going to talk a little bit about cloud advisory services, and then we're going to talk about who we are and then do some Q&A. So let's focus on what the experts are saying. I'm always a big believer in starting with the third-party credibility and actually taking shape of what's happening. And some of these, if you've been with us for some prior webcasts, some of these look familiar, especially during the ISV session that we did earlier last week that you can grab on demand anytime. But we know today that the majority of the largest top 100, 500,000 ISV application providers out there are investing in a cloud-first experience. So as a company who has a mission-critical application, you are probably leveraging or using one of those 100, 500, or 1,000 vendors and their applications, whether it's your accounting software, whether it is a CRM environment. And as a partner, you are in a position to provide advice and trusted advisor care and feeding to that customer and their application. And so it's very clear that we need to understand that cloud computing is really becoming that flexible solution, and that cloud-centric approach is critical to your business. I think most, poignant is the last quote on this page, which says, "Businesses must prioritize the protection of mission-critical information assets." If you ask the company, or if you ask the industry 3 years, 4 years ago, in all the polls out there, the stance on security would be, I'm keeping my workloads on-prem. I'm keeping them on-prem because they're more secure. Well, that pendulum basically in the proof points of both public and private cloud vendors globally is showing that and proving that wrong. Majority of the breaches that happen today certainly in the North American market, and even more so in the European and Asian markets, are as part of a on-prem individual organizational effort. The security and compliance coming along with mission critical cloud has evolved across multiple levels and with multiple cloud providers, not just Concerto. And so you should feel comfortable as a partner knowing that you can make a recommendation of some of the top cloud providers in the world, and not having them exposed to global threats, to the point where those global threats would be higher if they stayed exactly where they were. So what are those top 3 strategies to selling a mission-critical cloud? To be honest, I'll just take a side note. There's some things here that are key to selling any cloud. So you're asking a customer to commit to a different way they do business with you. You know, they're not doing those project-based scenarios. They're not, they're giving up something that they may have had control over. They are, you know, really putting their business in your hands and your cloud provider's hands. And so again, even though mission critical is the top of that pyramid, in the world of a customer, everything they do every day is mission critical. So what you need to ask your customer when you think about mission critical is, you know, what applications can they not be without? And my suggestion is, you know, start with an application that they can actually be semi without as part of a POC process to let them understand how efficiently they can move it to the cloud. You know, what makes this application mission critical to them? You know, is it the patient records in a healthcare scenario? Is it the privacy of POS data in a retail scenario? Is it a whole pile of content management that's maybe in a legal filing scenario and can't be removed from the database that it's in? There's many reasons why. Some of it, the answer will be it's mission critical because I got a bunch of employees that use it every day and it just cannot be done. It has to be always on. So there's a variety of reasons why folks call their application mission critical. You should get to the bottom of that to make sure that you understand what you want to start with. You know, understand and really put yourself in those shoes on what their financial implications look like and what are the other possible risks. So financials are not always the sole purpose why people don't want it down. Customer service is probably the #1 versus financial, to be honest. But there are other risks. There is, you know, employee satisfaction. If a person comes into that customer every single day to use that application and they're down for 3-4 hours, that is a half a day of that individual that is not being productive. So you really want to think about what their end user experience is today and then really understand whether you've got a cloud provider behind you that allows them to be always on, that their SLA is focused on always being on. So on that SLA, let's transition quickly to this criticality matrix. And so, you know, you could go to a bunch of cloud providers today and they'll say, oh, we've got a 4.9. We've got a 3.9, we've got a 99.95. Some of the public cloud providers have 99.95. A couple of things you need to know about that is there is a big difference between 99.95 and 99.99. I know it doesn't mean much on a kid's math test, but it means a heck of a lot in a data center with those types of, you know, SLAs down to the minute. What we have done, what we advise our customers, and certainly have our partners leverage, is a matrix that allows you to understand, is this organization in like military defense? They're part of a power grid, they're an air gap system. I mean, really, really mission critical. Are they in, you know, ERP, CRM, is it database? You'll see in the top right corner, we've actually gone and segregated what we mean by going from 4.9s to 9.9s. And when you're down to the millisecond, because you are, you know, a power grid, for example, or power company, that is going to look a lot different to you versus a CRM in a mid-market organization that wants those 4.9s just to be productive. They're, you know, not all SLAs are created equal. So making sure that you understand that you find a partner that has those always-on capabilities, that has the ability to go up and down a 99.99 spectrum and understands what it means to have deep, deep SLAs around always on and uptime. You also want to make sure that your offering allows for the third-party solutions to partake in that uptime. So you want to look for an application level type provider that offers the security and compliance management at the application layer, not the table stakes today of just a focused infrastructure that has exemplary security. If you are looking to move an application into the mission critical experience in the cloud, you have to have that management down to the application level. And of course, I mean, 24/7 customer care support. Monitoring is very key though. You want to make sure that you have transparency as a partner to what your customers are doing. You want to make sure that you understand, are they using more workloads less than others? This represents not only a customer service opportunity for you because you're their trusted advisor most of the time versus the cloud provider, but it also provides you an opportunity to upsell and cross-sell to your customers. If you understand that they're in a position where they need more bandwidth, where they need more infrastructure, they may need more servicing on a specific application, you can see that by partnering properly with a cloud provider to understand that transparency. And the third and final strategy is, and this has been a consistent theme in our entire series of Keeping Calm, is the don't go it alone. So you want to make sure that you're taking full advantage, well, first of all, that there is a comprehensive partner program and that the technical and operational resources in the company become an extension of your sales force. So you feel comfortable bringing this cloud provider to the table in an opportunity or in a deal and know that one of two things are not going to happen. One, they're incapable of answering the deep questions and knowledge tied to the customer, not just about racks and storage and space and data center and electrical and power. We can all answer questions about that. But critical questions that the customer wants to ask. And two, they're not going to bait and switch. So you want to make sure that you have a focused cloud provider that understands that they need to be behind the scenes and pretty much told the role they play in each opportunity as they move forward. And you also want to extend your portfolio, whether it's business transformation, migration and technical services. We've got customers today that we do DevOps, partners that we do DevOps for on behalf with their customers. You want to make sure that you've got these advisory services in play and you're not just partnering with someone that has basic cloud infrastructure. This is all in an effort to allow both you and your customer to focus on more strategic projects and really feel confident and comfortable that the cloud provider is doing their piece as far up to where you want them to be, and then you can take over. So with that, I am going to turn it back to Kim.
Thanks, Rochelle. Those were some great suggestions. So I'm going to hand it over to Rob to share with you a little bit more in depth about cloud advisory services and what to look for in a partner that offers this. So Rob, take it away.
Thanks, Kim. Next slide, please. So really, in the advisory role, we really become an extension of your sales force, going in with our various partners to talk with customers. We go to events with them, dig into really what the pain points are that the customers have. And we like to take the approach of just adding value from day one rather than waiting for the deal to sign. We find that it really, just by making that assumption, going in there, acting as if we already have won the opportunity, these are going to be our end customers. Customers are really responsive to it. They feel like they get it's a good use of their time, and they get knowledge that they didn't have before. They're happy to have experts come in and talk to them about how to design an appropriate DR scenario for their various applications, or assigning SLAs for a multitude of different services within the organization that quite often most companies don't have assigned internally today. Last week, myself and a partner of mine, we were out visiting two different customers, and it was amazing. We walk in, and this one particular customer had elected to go with a different cloud provider originally. They've been with them for a number of years. Recently, probably the last 2 years, they've been having some issues with uptime and also with performance, and they've had a turnover in IT staff, and they don't even understand why they have the various functions. The new folks that came in don't have a knowledge of the particular ERP solution that they're running. They don't understand what's required for that, and they just need help. They want to have fewer vendors in their ecosystem, and they want to be able to call one number to be able to support whether it's the cloud or the application. And with this particular partner, they're able to. So they call the partner if there's a problem, and then if the partner will determine if it's a cloud issue, and then they'll reach out to Concerto to be able to support them in that effort. So we're going through, and we're sizing out, we're right-sizing the environment for them, providing them some options, and showing them, educating them, really what would this look like if they stayed where they were, if they improved some of the resources, what would it look like if they made the move to Concerto, and what would it look like even if they're running on Azure or AWS? What are those costs? What are the variables that go into that? The other customer that we visited last week was they want to get out of the IT business, so they're looking to migrate their entire data center out to a cloud service provider, and it's a great opportunity for that particular partner, really, because we're able to define again, what application requires the various levels of uptime. So we've created a matrix that shows that the business needs this application for production hours. The business needs this application 24/7. If this is down, this is what it would cost the business. And then we're working on the migration plan to get them and migrate their various services to kind of a cloud of clouds model, where some of it will end up in Concerto, some of it will end up in a public cloud like Azure and AWS, and for most of their applications that they've already migrated them to SaaS-based solutions. So as you can see, we provide a lot of value. We're happy to join in on any customer calls that you may have. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us after this. Rochelle, back to you.
Great, thanks, Rob. And I think that's key is in terms of looking for a cloud provider partner. If you're, depending on where you are in your journey as a trusted advisor to your customers and where they are, you want to look for a cloud provider that is patient and that has the need and desire to walk through that journey with you, versus, as Rob put it, going after the deal immediately and more transaction-based. Cloud is not a transactional-based business, and certainly in the eyes of customers, it's not considered as transactional. It is a longer-term partnership for everybody involved. So, what are our partners saying? We've experienced a variety of feedback, because you have to remember our history is that of growing a partner base from the ground up. So we've had a variety, and we continue to grow a variety of partners in our ecosystem that come from many different areas of expertise when it comes to cloud. But there are some commonalities in why they came to us in the first place, and those challenges are pretty consistent. They didn't feel like they had a trusted cloud provider, and trust is key here, right? Trouble finding a solution that could meet, if you've got compliancy, if a lot of your customers in healthcare, retail, manufacturing, the list goes on and on, natural resources, there is a compliancy and security and uptime that is a showstopper for customers to go to the cloud. And if you don't have a cloud provider who understands that right off the bat and works with you in that specific industry, then you're never going to get that far. So those are kind of the two biggest reasons, and you can see that getting consistency, so not having fluctuating rates, month over month, or getting into a consumption-based model that explodes because your seasonality at, the holidays and Easter are big. So, that's another factor in the consideration. In terms of how our partners are positioning us today, we are positioned as a cloud provider for mission-critical applications. That is, tried and true. It's our history. It's what we do. It's the majority of the workloads. 87% of our workloads in the cloud today are mission-critical applications. But they also come to us for other reasons. So having this powered by concept of being able to truly co-brand and co-go-to-market is so key. Having that security and compliancy obviously is what usually brought them in the first place. But also understanding that we've got hybrid expertise. We're not looking to have a customer come in and place them in a cloud that is too big or too kludgy for them. We want to place the right workload in the right cloud, and that is really the multi-cloud strategy of where the industry is headed, and certainly where we are as Concerto. So I wanted to go through one story of a customer that we have had for quite a while. This is a customer that is manufacturing, and specifically a high-end ERP system that runs their global enterprise today. And the challenges they had was they effectively had 18 different ERP systems that were supporting their existing manufacturing platform. And they needed, if they were going to make this move, they absolutely needed to understand that the security and the reliability was there. And at that time, they were hosting on-prem. So they were taking on all the management as a customer. They were becoming cloud experts themselves, where they could have had either that IT or that development expertise focused on their core business. And so they came over to us and really spent their time working with us. And again, this is an ongoing focused relationship. This is not something you come and do and then, hey, we'll see in 3 years. This is about understanding that their 99.99 is exceeded every single month, that they have a very strong disaster recovery solution and they never have to worry about failover and critical losses and those types of things. They had to be ITAR compliant for the industry that they're in. They needed everything in there to have that scalable, reliable system, and they have some pretty significant and complex workloads. So, you can see the quote that's in there. You need a cloud provider to earn the contract, to earn the business. That is so key, and you should be looking at other things that you can evaluate beyond just a website or a high-level reference. You should be looking for those phone calls. You should be looking for that long-term customer commitment, and I think this quote articulates it nicely. So let me just end by talking about who we are at a glance. For those of you who have been on our other sessions, this is going to look like a repeat for you. You could probably say it yourself, but we are a fully managed cloud service provider. Our focus is more of a premium coming standard type scenario. We are focused on giving people consistency, a single bill, and our key differentiator is that we come from the application space. We weren't, born in Iraq I don't mean the country Iraq, Iraq space infrastructure. We weren't born out of, electrical and power. We weren't born out of a telephone company. We were born out of wanting to ensure that customers have a safe and reliable journey to the cloud. In fact, that was our own challenge at the time and why we became Concerto Cloud Services, to build a best-in-class cloud infrastructure that we could not find in the market at the time 6 or 7 years ago now. We do have an innovative partner program where we do try and take a much more personalized approach on getting to the bottom of what can really, to Rob's point, enhance and complement both on the marketing and on the selling side, where we're not trying to take over, we're not trying to focus our efforts on just what's good for Concerto, but what can we do to solidify your wins in the market, because when you win, we all win. We are part of the top 20 list of the Talkin' 100. I'm more proud of the growth we made from placement of number 53 in 2015 up to number 19 in 2016, and you can see I didn't talk much about our platform, but we have tried it every step of the way to be best in class in terms of our technology platform, which certainly includes being a Cisco-powered CMSP, handful of partners in the world that have that designation. And so in terms of next steps and a strong call to action, really take your time to compare cloud providers and what they mean by mission critical. Go deep on their SLA, understand the advisory. You can't be a cloud service provider for mission critical and not have strong cloud advisory services. You can't partner for those cloud service providers. The last thing you want as a partner is to go and do business with a cloud provider who then outsources half of their business to another partner, and you've got this three-legged stool that you're trying to manage. That's the last thing you want. And at the end of the day, don't go it alone. I mean, engage with us right off the bat, or whoever your cloud provider choice is. And then in terms of engagement with us, Rob very clearly said you can reach out to him directly. Rob has got great background and lives and breathes with our customers and partners every single day, and touches almost everything we see across Concerto, given his role. Myself, obviously, I'm always available to chat, as well as my team, and we do have a generic email, partner@concertocloud.com, for you. And of course, as Kim said at the beginning, we've still got one more of our series. You can catch the whole series on demand, but our final one is on financial modeling and how you actually go about not doing certain things in your financial model. So let's focus on what not to do. And also, we would love your input via the survey process here. So with that, I'm going to pass it back to Kim and see if there are any questions.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Rochelle. That was great. So as Rochelle mentioned, we're going to open it up for questions now. I'd just like to remind everyone that if you have a question, to submit the question, use the question button. So I'm going to give you guys a few moments to type in your questions, and then we'll get so our panelists can answer them. And it looks like someone's typing a question now. So let's just give that a moment. All right, this one's a quick one. It looks like my sales reps have sold on-prem for years. How would Concerto help me train my sales reps to the cloud?
It's a great question. Something we do and experience every single day. So we have as part of our enablement program, we recommend being front and center. So we generally recommend a face-to-face, one-day session with sales reps. And again, you can't teach a dog new tricks in a one day, but what we do is we focus on with the backing of the executive team. So I will take a step back and say our most successful enablement of sales teams and those that we see today that have completely made a 180. They've gone from only selling on-prem, more contract-based to, consumption-based MRR type selling when there has been the full and complete backing of the executive team, to the point where the Concerto executive team and the and our partner in crime's executive team is standing side by side, really focusing on the fact that the train has left the station and that you guys are moving to a cloud-first environment. Now, you may be in some type of hybrid. I mean, we don't really see the on switch go on that quickly. It's usually a cloud-ready environment and then moving to a cloud first. We are there every step of the way. We have virtual opportunities. However, we love the opportunity to be face-to-face. We do a channel building exercise where our rep networks with the reps of the other partner. We do quarterly sales team meetings. So if you have a large sales team kickoff, we are present, and basically we're a 24/7 resource to answer any questions. We do find the success comes with, I hate to say it, but you do need incentive to move sales folks to look at things differently and start learning that move. And so we offer incentives, spiff type scenarios to be able to slowly change behaviors, and we just stay very close to it. So we would welcome any opportunity to do that with the sales team. We see it, every sales team we have the opportunity to spend time with and help them through their first 3 or 4 transactions. We are doing our job as a Concerto cloud partner and an enabler.
Okay, perfect. We have another question. Is there a charge for Concerto advisory services? Great question.
That is a great question.
That is a great question. Rob, do you want to address that?
Yeah, so we view the advisory services as part of our pre-sale cycle. So with our partners, we go in and we help the front end of the sales cycle. If it's deeper, where the customer wants to have a roadmap defined for their business, longer term or more strategy-based than that, then there may be a charge, but typically there's not a charge for the advisory services.
Yeah, and I will also say I would decipher between cloud advisory services that Rob is defining on doing anything and everything to make sure that you're successful in your sales process. Often we'll have partners come and say, look, we are working on a billable project with this customer, and we'd like to add your advisory services. This could be after a customer's even moved to the cloud and they're adding more workloads. Obviously, there is some billable type environments that, frankly, our partners make their money on and bring us in as they see fit.
Okay, perfect. And I have one more question, and I think that will be probably it for today. So everyone says they have mission critical cloud, so they're hearing that. It looks the big buzzword. What else would you do to further vet a cloud provider for my customers? So I guess it's the vetting.
I can take that.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, yeah, the vetting process is an interesting one, and I think I touched on a few things, but a couple more practical things you can do. Ask them how many of their workloads in their environment are considered to be mission critical, and define that mission criticality. So, those that perform, at a 99.99 always on scenario, ask them the number of workloads, the number of users. Like, get very specific when someone says mission critical. You go on the website today, I could point you to 20 cloud providers. Everyone will have the mission critical message that they can take care of your most complex workloads. Until you see down to the SLA level and you have actually been given examples of, thousands of users doing really important things in really interesting industries, then you haven't really vetted, the mission critical piece enough. Don't just take the PowerPoint slides with the company names verbatim, because there's a lot of ways to spin that. And you could have the smallest number of users with something that's more of a web application be considered mission critical, because as I said, mission critical is in the eye of the customer. Rob, I don't know if you have anything else to add to that.
Yeah, I'd say that from our aspect, a way that we prove ourselves, we like to prove ourselves to end customers. We like to do data center tours as well, besides coming in and having conversations and performing advisory services. So we'll fly customers out to our facilities. We'll let them do a walkthrough. We have other organizations, other providers like Verizon and Amazon Web Services that are on the same facility that we are. So it puts us in a good category. Customers see that this is a world-class facility, this is a world-class solution. Really shows very well.
Yeah, and and the POC scenario that I mentioned at the very beginning, like give it a try. Take some mission-critical workloads, either even your own from a partner perspective running in the cloud, pilot with a customer that you yourself trust and they trust you implicitly, and make sure that over a 30-day process you've actually gone in there, you see what you see on your end, you see the performance, you understand it. That should be a given for any move to the cloud.
Perfect. So guys, with that, we're at the half hour now, so I would just like to say that that's all we have time for questions today. However, as the guest speakers have shared with you today, their emails are on the website. You can always email us at partner@concertocloud.com if you have any further questions. So on behalf of Rochelle Coleman, Rob Curls, and the Concerto Cloud Services team, I'd like to thank you for attending today's live webcast. We hope to see you on our next live webcast and hope to continue this series into the future as well. So if you'd like to, please give us your feedback today and definitely fill out the survey. And thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day.